profile of the two guys, I said, wow, one guy's a Jew, the other guy's a WASP, one guy's a Republican, the other guy's a liberal. One guy's a good writer, the other guy's not so good. They don't really like each other.
Robert Redford has kept Hollywood guessing for decades. Elegant, quiet, impossible to read. But now, after a lifetime of polished silence, he finally reveals the one actor he truly could not stand. The one man who pushed him past professionalism and straight into resentment. So who was he talking about? What happened behind those gold-trimmed studio doors? And why did Redford wait until now at this age? To speak the truth out loud, insiders always whispered about tension, ego, and a clash between two Hollywood giants who pretended everything was fine. But once Redford broke the silence, the old wounds resurfaced. The interviews, the set arguments, the night everything finally snapped. So, what really happened between these two legends? Before the feud ever surfaced, Robert Redford stood as one of Hollywood's most respected icons. A gentleman on screen, a diplomat off it, a man who built his career on quiet grace, artistic discipline, and a reputation almost too polished to touch. For decades, people saw him as the calm center of every set, the steady hand the actor-directors loved, the co-star everyone admired. He kept his distance from gossip, avoided scandals, and refused to play the fame game that swallowed so many of his peers. To fans, he was the ideal Hollywood figure, handsome, controlled, professional to the core. A man who didn't raise his voice, didn't create drama, didn't publicly clash with anyone. And the actor at the center of this secret feud, he carried the opposite image. Louder, more impulsive, a personality built for headlines, attention, and tension. Publicly, the two men smiled together, posed together, promoted films shoulder to shoulder like nothing was wrong. But behind the curtain, the distance grew, the energy shifted, and people who worked around them noticed the subtle flashes, stiff greetings, clipped responses, strained eye contact. Redford kept it hidden. He always did. He protected the brand he spent a lifetime building. But the truth was already there, quietly simmering. A private resentment that would eventually turn into one of the most whispered about actor rivalries of the 20th century. The turning point didn't come from a headline. It didn't come from a leaked interview, a tabloid story, or some explosive public moment. It started on set quietly, almost invisibly the way most real Hollywood fractures do. The two actors were filming a major studio project together, a film the industry expected to be smooth, classy, effortless. But from the very first week, something felt off. It began with a single scene, a simple exchange the director wanted tight and natural. Redford delivered his lines with calm precision, the same way he always worked. But the other actor pushed back louder, sharper, insisting Redford loosen up and match his energy. Redford didn't respond. He never did. But the refusal to bend sparked irritation. The irritation turned into tension, and the tension started bleeding into every single take. Crew members noticed the shift instantly. The way Redford stepped back after each scene. The way the other actor tried to dominate the frame, interrupting rhythms Redford had spent a lifetime perfecting. Then came the moment no one forgot. During a rehearsal, the actor snapped at Redford, accusing him of being too controlled, too technical, and too focused on himself. A comment that hit deeper than anyone realized. Redford didn't fire back. He simply walked off set, quiet, steady, humiliated in front of an entire room. From that moment, the temperature changed. This wasn't just a professional clash. It was personal. The respect broke. The friendship cracked. And the feud was officially born. The public never saw the feud directly, but the receipts were always there, hiding in old interviews, clipped answers, and little moments people brushed off at the time. Years later, fans went digging, and the pattern became impossible to ignore. In one press interview, Redford was asked about working with this actor. He smiled that polite, diplomatic Redford smile, but his words were sharper than people realized. "He's energetic," Redford said. "Sometimes too energetic for the work I try to do." It sounded harmless, but insiders knew exactly what he meant. Then came the actor's turn. When he was asked about Redford, the tone shifted completely. "Redford likes control," he said. "He's methodical. I prefer spontaneity. We bump sometimes." Bump was the gentle version. Crew members later admitted the two barely spoke between takes. During a promotional panel, the tension leaked out again. The actor cracked a joke about Redford always needing another take, and Redford's expression tightened just enough for cameras to catch it. Clips of that moment resurfaced years later, and fans suddenly connected the dots. Even directors chimed in over the years, hinting at the clash without naming it outright. One said, "They worked very differently." Very. Another admitted, "That set was complicated. Nothing explosive. Nothing scandalous. Just small cracks. But when you line them up, the truth becomes obvious. This wasn't two legends disagreeing. This was a quiet war that shaped the entire production, and Redford never forgot it. If the interviews were subtle, the insider accounts were anything but. People who were on that set still talk about it quietly, cautiously, like they're remembering a storm they survived. One crew member said, "You could feel it the moment they walked in. Redford was calm, focused. The other guy came in loud, fast, like he owned the room." Another described the energy even more bluntly. They weren't built to work together. It was oil and water. Respect was there, but compatibility? Not at all. A camera operator recalled the day when the tension crossed the line. They were shooting a simple scene, just 2 lines back and forth, and suddenly the actor snapped, "Can we move faster? We're not shooting a painting here." Redford didn't say a word. He just walked off the set. Production halted for nearly an hour. A lighting tech said the air felt frozen solid, like everyone was waiting for someone to give permission to breathe again. Another insider admitted they started scheduling shots, so Redford and the actor wouldn't have to stand together longer than absolutely necessary. Even the studio felt the tremors. One executive reportedly warned the director, "Handle them carefully. They're both stars, but they're stars moving in opposite directions." Years later, an assistant who worked with Redford said he never brought the feud up, but he never denied it either. "He'd just smile," she said. "That smile that tells you the story is true, and worse than anyone knows." These weren't rumors. These were the people who lived it, and every one of them said the same thing. The feud wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic. It was colder, sharper, the kind of resentment that never burns out. It just waits. The moment Redford's admission went public, the internet detonated. Twitter lit up within minutes. Film accounts, Hollywood historians, even casual fans who grew up watching his movies. Everyone had the same question. Who was he talking about? One tweet that went viral overnight read, "Redford naming names this late in life? Oh, something real must have happened." Reddit threads exploded too. Entire subreddits dedicated to classic cinema. Spun up timelines, side-by-side interviews, and old behind-the-scenes clips looking for clues. A top Reddit comment hit over 12 Kelvin's upvotes. Redford doesn't complain about anyone. If he finally broke, that actor must have been unbearable. YouTube reaction channels quickly jumped in, posting breakdowns titled things like, "Redford exposes a hidden feud," and "The actor he couldn't stand fans think they know who." Even longtime fans who defended the unnamed actor suddenly started rewatching old press junkets and noticing tension they had once ignored. Awkward smiles, tight body language, clipped answers. Instagram fan accounts began posting side-by-side photos from the film shoot in question, highlighting how Redford would subtly angle away from the man during group shots. TikTok added fuel to the fire. Short clips comparing their interviews went viral, with creators saying things like, "Look at Redford's face here, he's done." Comment sections split fast. Team Redford, "He's too classy to lie. If he said there was a problem, believe him." Team Mystery Actor, "Maybe Redford was the perfectionist, and the other guy snapped." But there was one thing nobody argued. This wasn't some tiny disagreement. This was a decades-long silence finally breaking, and the entire internet was ready to dig for the truth. Once Redford's confession hit the press, the shift in public perception was immediate, and it wasn't Redford whose image took the hit. It was the other actor. For years, he'd been seen as charming, confident, even charismatic in that old-school Hollywood way. But now, every archived interview, every behind-the-scenes clip, every red carpet moment with Redford was suddenly being viewed through a new lens. Entertainment blogs started posting headlines like, "Fans rewatch old footage with new eyes. Was the feud visible all along? Redford's resentment makes more sense now." Clips resurfaced showing the unnamed actor interrupting Redford mid-answer, talking over him during press events, or giving tight smiles that didn't quite reach the eyes. For years, fans brushed it off as personality differences. But now that Redford publicly confirmed there was tension, those same moments looked a lot colder, a lot more disrespectful, maybe even calculated. Film historians jumped in too. Some noted how their chemistry on screen was almost too stiff in certain scenes, something critics mentioned decades ago but never understood. Suddenly, people were saying, Redford was holding that together by pure professionalism. No wonder he kept his distance after that film. How did we miss the tension all this time? Even younger viewers, who weren't alive when the film released, started piling into comment sections. I don't even know who the guy is yet, but I believe Redford. The unnamed actor's reputation didn't collapse all at once. It tilted slowly, then steadily, until the narrative around him shifted from a respected Hollywood figure to the man Redford silently avoided for decades. And the truth was still only half out. Because the real turning point, the moment where everything truly snapped, was still ahead. The moment Redford's confession spread, publicists on the other side moved fast. Very fast. They knew exactly what happens when a Hollywood legend finally names a long-buried enemy. The internet picks a side, and it almost never picks the louder man. At first, the actors team tried the oldest move in the book: silence. No statements, no denials, no attempts to correct the narrative. Just wait it out. But silence didn't work. Redford's words were too clean, too measured, too honest, and the public believed him instantly. So the next phase kicked in: subtle PR reshaping. Industry insiders noticed that certain quotes from old interviews suddenly started circulating online, as if pushed quietly by handlers. I've always respected Robert's artistry. We had creative disagreements, like all actors. Any tension was nothing personal. None of these were new. They were pulled from decades-old press junkets, but they were reposted everywhere. At the exact moment the Feud story exploded, then came the soft, controlled interviews. Not major outlets, just safe, friendly platforms where difficult questions weren't going to be asked. He talked about misunderstandings. He praised Redford's career. He laughed off old rumors. It was a carefully crafted performance, designed to make the Feud look exaggerated, maybe even invented. But the public didn't buy it. Too many former crew members had already begun chiming in with, "I'm not surprised," and there was definitely tension. Everything the PR team tried just made the story feel more real. Then came the final step, the panic move every scandalized celebrity makes: bury the story in new headlines. Suddenly, he appeared at charity events, did surprise interviews, announced a small project comeback, anything to flood the press and shift attention away from Redford's reveal. But the damage was already done. People weren't discussing his new movie. They weren't sharing his smiling photo ops. They were sharing Redford's confession. And the one thing PR can't fix is a truth spoken by a legend, with nothing left to gain. After Redford's reveal, Hollywood didn't react with surprise. It reacted with recognition, because deep down, everyone already sensed that something had been off between these two men. For half a century, Redford walked away from the confession untouched. If anything, it made him more respected, more human, more legendary. But for the other actor, the fallout landed differently. Suddenly, old clips were being re-examined. Panels were replayed. Award show interactions resurfaced. Fans began noticing the stiff smiles, the avoided glances, the sharp edges in interviews that never felt obvious before. Directors who once spoke vaguely about tension on set began sounding clearer. Crew members who hinted at ego clashes now had a focal point. Journalists who always felt something simmering finally had confirmation, and the narrative shifted fast. Where Redford was praised for honesty, the other actor was framed by the internet as controlling, competitive, and quietly resentful of Redford's effortless grace. His past quotes, ones that once seemed harmless, now played differently, more defensive, more pointed, more insecure. And for the first time in decades, his legacy didn't feel untouchable. It felt questioned. Studios pulled older interviews to distance current projects from the noise. Comment sections filled with, "Now I believe Redford," and "This all makes sense now." Even fans who loved both men could feel the shift. Meanwhile, Redford stayed quiet. No follow-up statements, no clarifications, no backpedaling. He said what he needed to say, and he left the rest to time. Today, their relationship is exactly what it looks like: polite, distant, and frozen in history. Two giants who built Hollywood's golden era, yet walked away from it carrying very different scars. Redford, finally unburdened. The other actor, finally exposed. So now that Redford has finally said the quiet part out loud, one question hangs heavier than all the rest. What other truth has he been holding back? Because insiders say this feud wasn't the only one. Not even close. There were two more actors. Redford allegedly clashed with behind the scenes men whose names still spark tension in old Hollywood circles. And according to one producer, if Redford ever talks about them, people will rethink the entire golden age. More tapes exist, more interviews, more off-camera moments that never made it into public view. And with Redford finally breaking his silence, he protected for half a century. Fans are wondering if this is just the beginning. Because if one feud stayed buried this long, what else has Hollywood been hiding? Is behind its perfect smiles and polished nostalgia? The next chapter? It's bigger, darker, and it changes everything.